Well, Alan over at Papa Bear Knives is killing it yet again. So I ended up with a box of 4 fixed blades from Alan. These are ultimately going to go down under for Aussie Mike, good friend of mine, who sent 4 of these badass blades from Papa Bear Knives over for me to check out. This one is the Essential Gen 1, and I actually own an Essential Gen 2. Also, thanks to Aussie Mike, actually gifted this to the channel, and yes, I still have it. Anything that's donated to me or gifted to me by a viewer like that, I tend to keep. If it's a manufacturer that gives me some, budget knives and things like that, I have done giveaways and things like that for those. But things like this, these substantial type pieces, I do tend to hang on to. So, sure you can't really read the specs on this, but this is the Essential Gen 1, and it is out of Magna Cut. So that's why I was not surprised as I dug into the details on this, why Mike bought it, because he is a Magna Cut freaky fan. If it says Magna Cut on the blade, he wants it. This is a typical Papa Bear Knives awesome piece. The fit and the finish on every knife that I have handled of his is out of this world. He does a fantastic job. We've had Alan on the EDC hour before, and I'll put a link to that channel and or that video up in the corner. But go check us out. That's a show that Alex and I do every couple of weeks, a live stream over on another channel. And we talk to makers. We have on as guests. We have had Aussie Mike on as a guest before. We've had other YouTubers on as guests, and we just have a great time for about an hour, hour and a half, just shooting the proverbial stuff, if you will, and it's always a good time. In fact, yesterday's episode, at the time of filming, we talked about survival gear in like survival situations, zombie apocalypse, out in the mountains in the snow and things like that. And one of the items that we agreed on needing was a fixed blade in a 4 to 6 inch range. This blade comes in at 4.86. So this would have probably been a good choice of Alex's to have in his survival kit. So let's talk about some specs on this guy since we're there. 9.25 inches overall, just a hair under 9.25. 4.86 inch blade with a 4.74 inch cutting edge. It's 0.024 behind the edge. And on a fixed blade, that's great. We don't need super thin behind the edge because we're not going to be out in the field wanting to slice tomatoes paper thin, right? That's not the mission being out in the field with a fixed blade. This will get any cutting task done. A little bit thicker behind the edge gives you the ability to do some batoning, some chopping of wood, getting kindling, things like that. You're not going to chop down a tree with this, but in a survival situation, you're going to do whatever you need to do. And if you needed to chop down a small tree, and this is what you got, this is what you got, right? So you want a little bit of a thicker edge in a fixed blade anyway. As I said, it's Magna Cut. It comes in at 0.151 blade thickness. It is a full tang construction, of course. I think that's pretty much a given these days in fixed blades. Weighs in at 6.5 ounces all by itself. This sheath is much different than the sheath I have on my Gen 2. And I know Alan's kind of gone back and forth with different leather makers, as a lot of companies have. A lot of makers, they don't make their own sheaths usually. They send them out to somebody, and it's always an issue because they're doing small runs. Alan may do a run of like 5 or 10 sheaths at a time. And you can't get great pricing that way. Sometimes your makers are like, yeah, I can get to your 5 sheaths in like 5 months. It just depends on backlog and things like that. But this is a scout carry, which means it's horizontal carry. I love the logo there and the texturing on the leather. It's just a nice, well done sheath. Nothing wrong with the sheath I have. Mine is a belt, drop type sheath. And it is equally nice. I'm going to say it's slightly less nice than this, but I would not be carrying a fixed blade myself of this size horizontally like this, I don't think. The other issue with this one is but it's a little stiff in there. And granted, this is all brand new. It's going to break in, but with it horizontal, you need a lot of retention. So it is a little bit tougher to get out. So you almost need a lanyard on this to give you a little more grip to extract the knife from the sheath. I love the finish on this. It's super crazy sharp, like crazy sharp. MagnaCut has a way of doing that. I like MagnaCut. I am not as super freak as Aussie Mike, but this is my first MagnaCut knife. Possibly my only MagnaCut knife, actually, now that I think about it. This is the RJ Martin Q36. This is a total, it's a custom handmade knife that was like $3,000. That is a total user for me. As you can see, this is one of the ones I carried on moving day when I just recently moved. I absolutely love this knife. I do need to clean it up. I try to keep it a little bit clean, but But yeah, this thing is awesome. The fit and finish is just great. You cannot feel any sort of seams between the different materials. I love the lanyard tube here, this mosaic with pins. It's just beautiful. Even the seam here between the tang and the scales, you cannot feel anything. You can feel the etching of the brand name, but that's about it. And this one has a little bit of a secret. As we kill the lights, it's got some glow in the dark. And if I charge it up real quick, give it a quick blast with some UV, you can really see it. It doesn't really pop just with the studio lights, but look at that. That is totally cool. And I'm kind of sold on it because of that feature. Y'all know I love my glow in the dark. But I like the hammer finish up here, the satin flats. It's just a beautiful knife. And I've got, like I said, 4 other knives that three other knives that I will be showing from Papa Bear Knives over the next few days because, well, yeah, this is not even my favorite one. I love this one, but there's one in the box that is going to be tough for me to send back to Aussie Mike because it is really an incredible fixed blade. So, and I'm not even a fixed blade guy, but just to give you some size comparisons here with a few other custom knives in my collection, mostly folders. I still have my fixed blades are still packed away for the most part. I got to pull them out. I'm slowly unpacking the custom Hellraiser. And since we're talking about big knives, how about the Vandermeulen Blade Works Double Homicide? That kind of does dwarf the fixed blade. But yeah, what are you going to do? So let me know your thoughts on this. Please go check out my Papa Bear playlist up in the corner, as well as check us out on the EDC Hour. We're a small channel trying to grow. We've done 38 episodes. It's been a lot of fun. And go check it out. Let me know what you think. I would really appreciate that. Have a great day, and we will see you. Actually, I'm not going to see you on the next one. You will see my hands on the next video.